Welcome back to the XLNavigator series of demo videos. In this video, we're going to focus on the XLNavigator SQL Import and Export tool. What I'm showing you here is the XLNavigator full version, which includes all the different features and functions available in the product. If you install the SQL version as a standalone tool, you will only see the SQL-related functions here on the menu. We'll be working under the XLNavigator ribbon tab, focusing specifically on the SQL features. However, for the purpose of easy navigation and to demonstrate the value of the Object Explorer, I'm also going to show you the panel on the left side of the screen. One important thing to keep in mind: when you evaluate the free trial version of the SQL Import and Export tool for XLNavigator, the Object Explorer is not included in that package. The Object Explorer can be downloaded or purchased separately. On the right-hand side, you'll see the main XLNavigator interface. Throughout this demo, we'll walk through how the SQL Import and Export tool connects your Excel workbooks to your database, making it easy to bring data in and push data out directly from Excel. Let's get started. Starting with the SQL menu, let's take a look at the available functionality. Clicking the drop-down reveals all the core features of the tool: connecting to a SQL Server database, loading data from Excel into SQL, loading data from SQL back into Excel, updating data either manually or dynamically, and truncating or deleting tables when needed. We'll begin by establishing our database connection. If you choose SQL Server authentication, the password will be encrypted and stored securely in your settings file on the back end. Alternatively, you can use Windows authentication. Once you've entered your SQL Server name and database name, click the Test Connection button. We can see a success message, which means we're connected, and we can go ahead and save that connection. Now, with an empty database in place, let's open SQL Server Management Studio briefly to confirm there are no existing tables yet. As you can see, the database is completely empty at this point. Now let's move on to the next feature, Load to SQL. You have a couple of ways to access this, either through the drop-down in the SQL menu and selecting Load to SQL, or by navigating directly within the task pane itself, clicking the drop-down there and choosing the function you want to work with. For this demonstration, I'm working with a large sample workbook. This workbook was generated using AI, so all the data inside was created automatically. Nothing was entered manually. All of this data was generated using Claude Code, and I actually have a separate video on my Kudu Tech channel walking through that process, so I'll drop a link in the description if you want to check that out. What you can see here is that this workbook contains 49 sheets. The Excel Object Explorer gives you an easy way to navigate between them. There are also different ways to view your data. You can toggle the context on and off for specific sheets, so you only see data that's relevant to the current sheet. You can also jump directly to a sheet or turn the context back on to see everything again. As you move between sheets, the active sheet automatically expands so you can see exactly what's inside it. Now, another very handy navigation mode, and one we'll be using throughout this demo, is the Sheet Node Level toggle. Instead of navigating sheet by sheet, this view reorganizes everything around the objects contained in the workbook. In this case, we can see we have 12 tables, as well as several named ranges. From here, you can navigate directly to any named range, or jump straight to any of the tables. So now let's start loading some data into SQL Server. I'll begin with one of the tables in this workbook. This is where the Load to SQL functionality really comes into play, and it's the first major feature we'll be demonstrating. I'll start by selecting a range of cells. This will be my selected data range for the load operation. Notice at the top we have a few key options. First, there's a checkbox indicating that the first row contains headers. You can uncheck that if your data doesn't include a header row. Next is the Detect Dynamic Data Types option. When enabled, the tool will analyze each column and attempt to determine whether the data should be treated as a monetary value, a numeric type, or a string. Alternatively, you can choose to load everything as strings only, which means all columns in SQL Server will be stored as VARCHAR data types. Now, one feature I'm particularly proud of is the VARCHAR length stepping logic. In most tools, when you load data, The varchar length is simply set to the minimum length needed to fit the longest value in that column. So if your longest string is 9 characters, you'd get varchar 9, which isn't ideal for scalability or consistency. What I've built here is a smarter approach. You define a minimum length, in this case 8, and a step-up factor of 2. So if a value exceeds 8 characters, the system automatically steps up the length to 16, then 32, and so on, doubling each time. This gives you clean, well-structured varchar lengths that are consistent and scalable, rather than those awkward, arbitrary minimum fit values you'd normally get. That's a clean, scalable approach to loading varchar types, especially useful when you anticipate longer string values down the line. Next, we have the Add Identity Column option. This lets you automatically add an auto-incremented primary key to your table. You can choose to skip it entirely with none, or you can designate the first column as your unique ID column, whichever suits your data structure. Once those options are configured, we need to give the table a name. We'll call this one Sales Data V1, then click Import SQL to run the import. Now let's open the SQL panel side by side to verify the result. After refreshing our tables, you can see the new Sales Data V1 table has been created. Looking at the data types, unit price is a decimal, quantity is an int, product ID is an int, sales date is a date, region is a varchar 16, and sales rep is a varchar 32. Let's run a quick select on that table, and there's our data, loaded exactly as expected. This process handles thousands and thousands of records efficiently, making it highly performant for real-world datasets. Now, in addition to importing from ranges, we also have the ability to load Excel tables directly into SQL, and that's exactly what this next step covers. This feature looks specifically at table objects within your workbook. It scans and presents a list of all recognized table objects, and you can select one or multiple tables to load at once. As each table is loaded, a corresponding SQL Server table is automatically created and named to match. You also have the option to include an identity column with auto increment. We'll go ahead and enable that here. Then click Load Tables. The result: 4 loaded successfully, 0 failed. Now let's jump back to SQL Server and refresh the table list. You can see those additional tables have now appeared. Running a quick select on one of them confirms the data has been loaded cleanly and completely. This means you can literally load dozens or even hundreds of tables from your Excel workbook directly into SQL Server in a single operation, making bulk migrations fast and effortless. So if you're doing database prototyping or data modeling in Excel, or someone handed you a set of tables and you simply need them in SQL Server as a starter database, this workflow makes it incredibly fast. Select all the tables you need and load them in a single operation. Now let's move on to the next feature. We've covered loading from Excel tables and named ranges. Now let's look at load from SQL. The tables we just pushed into SQL Server are now fully available as SQL Server tables. We can select those and load them back into Excel. To demonstrate that, let's set up a new destination. We'll head back into the tool and create a fresh sheet to receive the incoming SQL data. We'll name it something descriptive to distinguish it from our previous sheets, something like From SQL, so it's clear where this data is coming from. Let's go ahead and set that up now. We've now set up both sheets, this one and the From SQL sheet, so we can clearly identify data that's been loaded from SQL Server once the import is complete. Let's go ahead and load from SQL. We have these 2 tables available. Notice the options here. Include tables is checked, and first row contains headers is enabled. We can export these as Excel tables, which is the default behavior. Or, if we uncheck that option, we can export them simply as a range and associate them with the default table schema. Let's proceed with exporting as tables. We have 2 tables, and they'll be exported to 2 new sheets. Confirming that now. The export completes, and we may need to refresh the view to see the results. Here we have the first sheet, and here's the second sheet. 1 table per sheet, exactly as expected. If we go back to the table level view, we can confirm these are the 2 tables we just exported from SQL Server. Now, it's worth noting that when you export a table this way, you also have the option to make that table editable directly within Excel. Additionally, you can manually link tables between Excel and SQL Server, creating a live two-way connection. We'll explore that capability a bit later. For now, we've successfully demonstrated how SQL data flows back into Excel as structured and organized tables. To demonstrate the auto-link feature, let's export one more table from SQL Server. We'll use the customers table for this. After refreshing the table list and loading from SQL, we can see the customers table appear in the list. This time, we'll check the box to enable the auto-link option before exporting. Once we click Export, the system will prompt us about syncing the table. If the table doesn't have a primary key defined, you'd need to manually set the unique identifier at this point. However, since our customers table already has a primary key, the system recognizes it automatically and we can simply confirm. Because we're exporting a single table, it lands directly in the currently active sheet, exactly where we are now. By default, the connection is set to manual update mode. To demonstrate this, let's change one of the customer names to Acme. Notice that as soon as we make that edit, the system highlights all modified fields, clearly marking which values have been changed and are pending sync back to SQL Server. Currently, we're in batch mode, manual sync, which is the most common workflow. You edit the values at your own pace, and when you're ready, you commit everything at once. That said, real-time sync is also available, and we'll demonstrate that in just a moment. To push these pending changes, simply click Apply All right here and confirm by selecting Yes on the Pending Updates prompt. The fields then turn green, confirming that all modified values have been successfully written back to SQL Server. Now let's verify this on the database side. Switching over to the SQL table, you can see the customers table now reflects our changes, including the updated name John Doe and the other value we modified. The data is fully in sync between Excel and SQL Server. Now let's place these two windows side by side to demonstrate the auto-update feature. We'll update one of the records here, changing the company name to ABC Company, and within just a few seconds, you can see that update is reflected automatically. Scrolling down to row 22, you can confirm ABC Company is now showing in the table. That's the auto-update behavior in action. Let's expand the panel again and take a look at a couple more features. First, you can unlink a table at any time. That option is always available. Next, let's switch over to the Changelog tab. This is where you can track exactly what has been modified and log your sync results. Let's update another value. We'll change this one to Orlando. And once that syncs, switching to the changelog, you can see the change recorded there. And as you can see, the field was updated here. That's how the SQL statements look behind the scenes. You also have the option to auto-refresh a table at any interval you choose. Now, the last thing to cover is how to clear and delete data. If you want to remove an individual entry, simply select it and click Clear. You can also delete records one at a time or select multiple rows together. Let's check all of these entries, uncheck the one we want to keep, and then click Delete Selected, confirming yes. Now, switching back to the SQL tab and refreshing, you can see only one table remains. Running a select query on it confirms it's completely empty. And that, in a nutshell, is how the SQL Import Export tool works. Thanks for watching.